Is Josiah on? Oh, okay.
You need a quorum to start speaking up.
I don't think so. Okay, we'll start.
You get that at this end. Usually means somebody's wrong.
Good evening. We'll call the meeting to order pertaining to the student representatives' updates. And on behalf of myself and the school committee, we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, and a joyous New Year. With that, I know that the school committeeman Josiah Gonzalez will be participating remotely. And with that, first in the chute is Springfield High School, Nova Martelli, Isaiah Ortiz Colon, Zaire Ramos, Jeremiah Mulva. If I pronounce your name wrong, please correct me. Supported by Roberto Ortiz, the assistant principal. Mr. Ortiz, I don't know if you want to open up first.
Mayor. Yes, I will. Good evening, Mayor Sarno. Thank you for giving me the privilege to introduce our students. They're very excited. All right. So first off, it's going to be Nova Martelli, an 11th grader. He's been with us for the past 3 months. He's new to our school. And for fun, he likes watching anime, loves to play Magic the Gathering card game, and wants to pursue a career as an archaeologist.
Oh.
So Nova, you're up first. Floor is yours. Take it away. Unmute and go.
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz.
All right, here you go. Sorry, hold on. All right, here you go. Hi, my name is Nova, and this is a speech I wrote to help kind of show how Springfield High School is and how it is a good school and how it has influenced my school life as well as my life apart from school. When I first arrived at this school, everyone was nice and respectful, especially the staff, and they helped me with everything that I had needed. Later in the school year, we had a really fun and interesting field trip to UMass for the Women and Engineering Day and speech, and we had some fun, learned some cool stuff like wiring a light bulb to a circuit breaker. As the school year went on, I met a couple of good friends, and I was able to enjoy school, and I got to experience new things. Then things got even better. We got to go to the Basketball Hall of Fame for a field trip and got to play basketball and learn the history of basketball. Springfield High School may not look the nicest school at first glance, but it is a great school because there's a low number of people and the staff are really caring about their students, and they are immensely helpful. I have some hobbies that I would like to share with you, and they are a card game called Magic the Gathering, and I also have enjoyed anime whenever I have free time, as well as I want to become an archaeologist. There are some staff that stood out to me because of how much they care. Those staff are Mr. Serrano, Miss Cruz, as well as Mr. Ortiz, and another staff called Miss Lacroix. She was really helpful. And before I end my speech, I want to thank all the staff and teachers that helped me and the other students because of what they did, of amazing jobs.
Nice job, Noel. Thank you. Very heartfelt. And I also want to indicate school committee woman Barbara Gresham sends her regrets. She just had successful knee surgery, so we wish her well, and she wishes everybody else well too. So who's next on the hit parade here?
So we have Maya Malavich. She's a 10th grader and has also been at Springfield High School for 3 months. She loves watching horror movies for fun, loves interior home designing, and is looking to pursue a career as an architect. Go ahead, Maya, take it away.
Good evening. My name is Maya, and I'm a current student attending Springfield High School. Over the course of 3 months, I have learned many things, one of which being what it feels like to finally understand myself academically. For the first time in 4 years, I have received a report card I can finally be proud of, containing all grades above a C and a 3.6 GPA. Without the help of Mr. Serrano's encouragement, Mr. Ortiz's faith in me, and Ms. Cruz's motivation, I would have continued to lose interest in succeeding in school. Success isn't one of those things handed to you. It's earned. That's one of many things Mr. Ortiz has brought me to realize. I've also been given countless amounts of opportunities to better enhance my readiness for the future, such as the opportunity to participate in our weekly youth mentoring group every Wednesday. During our weekly group, we are encouraged to participate in activities such as modeling practice for the upcoming 2023 I Am Me Kids fashion show, run by one of our youth mentors, Tika Jones. We also participate in learning activities, including financial literacy, which is a source of mental preparation for our future financial lives. Another opportunity Springfield High School students are given is the ability to contribute to our PBIS system. This system consists of our in-school currency, also known as Tiger Dollars, which can be earned for several reasons, whether it's attendance, productivity, or overall good behavior. Tiger Dollars are also used to purchase incentives like snacks or cake at our monthly community meetings, which are used to celebrate student and staff birthdays, but also to give students recognition for their hard work with the use of student awards. Tiger Dollars can also be used to purchase a weekly incentive we all enjoy called Dress Down. Dress Down is every Friday and can be used to allow students to express themselves through their choice of school appropriate clothing. Additionally, I would like to thank the Springfield High School family for all the encouragement and support they provide for their students. You are all greatly appreciated.
Nice job, Maya. Nice job there.
Good job, Maya. Next up, we have Isaiah Ortiz, one of our 11th graders. He's been with us for about 3 years, and he loves computer designing and gaming development, and wants to pursue a career in information technology, in IT, in specific coding.
All right.
Go ahead, Isaiah.
Isaiah?
Can you hear me?
We can hear
Yes.
you, Isaiah. Yep, thank you.
All right. So, hi, my name is Isaiah Ortiz. I am 17 years old, and I go to Springfield High School. I have been here for 3 years. I like being a student at Springfield High School because students will experience Wednesday youth group, which can give opportunities for your future. Events at schools are also something to look forward to because they teach you life lessons while not being boring and very engaging. Also, some things to look forward to are movie days, such as film class or fictional science, because they teach you things. And also, there's fingerprinting or murder stories that you can do, or creating your own film movies. Some of my goals are to learn coding because coding will allow programmers to build programs such as websites, apps, which will allow them to learn game developing, computer designing, and system creation. One of my other side goals are to go to the Army. Before I end my speech, I want to thank Mr. Ortiz and the teachers for supporting me. Thank you for listening and have a good day.
Isaiah, nice job. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaiah. We have one more, Mayor Sarno. His name is Zaire Ramos, one of our 10th grader.
Sure.
And probably the most popular student in our school. He wants to go to school for graphic designer for video games, and wants to build computers for a living. So go ahead, Zaire, unmute and go on.
Oh my God, I'm really nervous. I'm not gonna lie, but my name is Zaire. Most people at the school call me Big Z.
Oh, you're doing fine, Zaire. You're doing fine.
And I'm in my sophomore year at Springfield High School. So far, I've had a good experience since the staff at the school are really good. And without the motivation of two of my biggest supporters, Jamie Serrano and Mr. Ortiz, I probably wouldn't be where I am today, because they were always pushing me to strive to be the best person I can be. One thing that I'm trying to accomplish for myself is I want to learn how to build computers and fix them. Hopefully I'm able to pursue that, but my thing was short. That's really all I have.
You're right to the point, Zaire. Nothing wrong with that. Good job.
Suck at this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Springfield High School. Good job. We'll now move to, before I go there, I want to give Focus Springfield a shout out. Again, they've been great, making sure we keep our meetings public. And Josue and crew, thank you very much. STEM Middle Academies in the house, supported by Luis Martinez, who's the principal, Ed Martinez, Nicole Flores, assistant principals. And Principal Martinez, please tell my pal Giovanni, the soon-to-be airline pilot, that I said hello to. In the house is Maya Murph, Elena Martinez, Leslie Vu. So I'll turn over to you, Principal Martinez, for any introductions, if you'd like, please.
Mayor Sano, great job introducing our kids, and I absolutely tell Giovanni that you send hello to him. He's a wonderful shooter. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward for him to join the Right Flag Club now in the springtime. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna enjoy that. Good evening, Mayor Sarno, Superintendent Warwick, and the rest of the school committee. I have the pleasure tonight to introducing amazing 8th grade students at our school. Alina Martinez, Leslie V, and Mia Murph. They're going to present to you tonight about what they're doing in their English language arts. So I'm going to start with Leslie V. Leslie, it's your show. Have a good. Actually, they're all going to unmute at the same time, so they actually prepare this together. So, ladies, it's your turn.
Thank you, Principal Martinez.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Sarno, Superintendent Mr. Warwick, school committee board members, and all who are attending this middle school speak at night. Shout out to our awesome, fashionable, caring, and inspiring principal, Mr. Martinez, who is a guest poet reading his original works, empowering the 8th grade class to write a poem of their own. I'm sure that he will be willing to share one of his works upon request. I would like to introduce myself and my 8th grade classmates from STEM Middle Academy. My name is Leslie V, and with me are Mia Murph and Alina Martinez. Tonight, we would like to showcase our work from our English language arts class. For a few weeks, we've been focusing on the Vietnam War. Specifically, we've been reading a memoir of poems by Tana Lai called Inside Out and Back Again. To start, we read a few poems each week and summarized each poem in groups. The book was a true perspective on how a girl named Kim Ha and her family escaped the Vietnam War. With that, we had to develop a poem using our knowledge from what we read and videos we've seen.
Hi, my name is Alina. To get deeper into the book, Kim has a papaya tree that she cherished. Whether it was a stressful day or not, she would bring up how she would go to the tree for comfort, and would want to see the first blooming of the papaya. Away from all that happiness, there was a lot of troubles. There were different types of gruesome attacks, which led to people needing to choose where they were going to relocate, pack up some small memories, and aboard a ship that held hundreds of people for weeks.
As I was reading further into the stories, I started to think about how tough and difficult it was to live back then. Currently, I'm able to live in peace at home and go to school without needing to worry about anything bad happening, while back then, it was a different story.
When I read the story of Kim Ha, I became more grateful for the life I have now, where I have both my parents, a home where I don't have to be scared, and full education, where I don't have to worry about anything happening to me or my family. But for Kim Ha, that was different.
Hi, my name is Mia. After reading these poems, I got a different perspective on how people lived at the time of the Vietnam War. I haven't learned much about modern history like wars and tragedies. In our classes, we usually learn about ancient artifacts, but now that I'm learning about these events, I get a better perspective of how someone my age survived an era of war. As a result of reading her poems, we wrote our own poems inspired by her experiences. I will begin with my poem titled Running from Saigon from the perspective of a Vietnamese refugee. I woke up this morning, everything fine, not knowing what was next, being told to run from a place I once called home. Mother and father trying to push me away from Saigon, me too worried about my prized possessions to care. Running back to what was left of my home, my parents screaming for help, dust and ash blocking my sight, running from Saigon, the hardest day of my life. After many hours of traveling the sea, I woke up from a nap at a place with many families crying in fear. My parents called this place a refugee camp. Running from Saigon, words I thought I would never say. All the joy turned into fear, the war turning everyone's happiness into grief and devastation.
Next, my poem titled Days at Sea is from the perspective of a Vietnamese refugee. Miles away from Vietnam shore, bombs, helicopter whirs, and the sound of the sea. That was all you could hear. Not a peep from anyone's mouths, just a sorrowful look from faces. Nobody had the strength to show emotion after all that trauma. Days on the ship of freedom go by. Everyone is wondering whether America will be good or not. Will they be able to reset their lives? The ship could submerge at any moment. Hundreds of people compacted, tiny bits of food, barely any water to last. No denying that everyone is sick and sleep deprived. Some look like they're hanging on by a thread. Weeks until most lives can be restarted, but nothing ever forgotten.
Lastly, I'll present my poem titled Welcome to Vietnam from the perspective of a US soldier. Bang, 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 back and forth, bullets flying through the air. Flying where? I'm not sure. Wrong step if they hear. Your life is gone. Not knowing when you have to go. Every moment, every shot, increasing temperature. You walk, death. It's killed or be killed. What was once a village is now rubble. Men, women, children, babies, covered in blood, dead. I just want to see my mom and dad again. Even my annoying brother would make me happy. As we walk out of the jungle, my sergeant leads. One step, boom. Bouncing Betty's, blood. Gun shooting our direction. His legs shredded, body parts everywhere. Next to the body, a sign. Welcome to Vietnam.
We would like to thank the Honorable Mayor Sarno, Superintendent Mr. Warwick, school committee board members, and all who are attending this middle school speak out night for allowing us the opportunity to present great things happening at Seminole Academy.
Whoa, 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 way to go, Mia, Elena, and Leslie. Great job, great job. Thank you for your perspective on the Vietnam War. I know a lot of Vietnam veterans would appreciate that and their families. Next on the hit parade is Liberty Prep, and they're supported by the Hoopsters principal, Rhonda Jacobs, Jennifer McQuaid, assistant principal, and Daniela Grimaldi, program director, and Riley McCullough. Riley McCullough is going to be the speaker, so I'll turn it over to Principal Jacobs or the assistant principal McQuaid or Ms. Grimaldi.
Good
Daniela.
evening. It's Miss McQuaid. So I'd like to introduce Riley, who is, he's been with us. This is his second time with us through the Goodwin House. And I'm going to let him speak for himself.
Thank you, Jen.
Good evening, Mayor Sarno, Superintendent Warwick, and members of the school committee. My name is Riley McCullough, and I am a student at Liberty Prep Academy. As I make slow but sure progress each day of my recovery, I am beginning to genuinely be thankful for many things that I have taken for granted. One of the number one things I am thankful for today would be the many chances I have been given by my higher power. Today, I get the chance to be in a safe and secure recovery high school called Liberty Prep Academy. I get the chance to be in the school that is doing everything it can to make sure I graduate on time. I also have a very wise recovery counselor at LPA who has brought many things to light for me. All of the other staff here at the school are very supportive and understanding. The staff have a lot of patience and care for me. Most of all, I get to be a part of this beautiful thing called recovery. Today, I have the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 steps in my life, and I am forever grateful. I am thankful for finally surrendering to this simple program. All it takes to be a member is simply giving over your will to a God of your understanding and to stop fighting fire with fire. I can say today that I finally understand what that takes. It was not easy, but with perseverance, I have finally begun my true journey. At the end of the month, I will have 3 months sober, and I can say there's no way this would have been possible without the things I have just mentioned. I came to Liberty Prep at the beginning of the school year after I was referred from my residential program called the Goodwin House in Chicopee. Tomorrow I am being discharged and going home. I am thankful I have the opportunity to finish out the school year and graduate from LPA. I have great supports that I know just want the best for me. I can say confidently for the first time in my whole life that I am truly thankful to be alive today. It is only by the grace of God that I am still here. God has given me so many chances. I know he still wants me here for a reason. And each day I begin more and more to realize what that reason is. Miss McQuaid and Miss Feresi have been working on a graduation plan with me and giving me the confidence to graduate on time. When I went to Chicopee Public Schools, I struggled immensely. I was really behind in credits. When I came to Liberty Prep at the beginning of this year, I was really behind in credits when I came to Liberty Prep at the beginning of this year. I now am in 12th grade and my plan is to graduate in June. This is a miracle to me. I wouldn't have been able to do this without the help of this school. I've received more support from this school than I have in my whole school career. And Liberty Prep also offers an after-school program that runs Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I've only been staying Wednesday and Thursdays because of my residential program, but starting next week, I'm staying the extra day to put the extra work in to make sure that I graduate in June. This is not my first time attending Liberty Prep. I was in the Goodwin House once before at the end of last year. I remember meeting with Miss McQuaid and taking a tour of the school before I attended. Since day one, I've been welcomed here and been free from judgment of my background. This school and the support, patience, and kindness they give their students is what children like me need to succeed. This school is very generous. The staff do things for us that some other schools don't do. Like we go out on field trips regularly to local places like Forest Park. We attend local AA meetings. Miss McQuaid brings us out to eat. We also recently went to Holyoke to get a tour of the Holyoke Community College's Culinary Arts Building. Liberty Prep prepares you for life after high school, and that's what I like. We explore college choices and career opportunities. We had a financial stability presentation, which teaches us how to manage our money appropriately. I have so much appreciation for Liberty Prep Academy and everything they do for me and everyone else. Thank you, Liberty Prep Academy, for everything, and thank you all for letting me speak tonight.
Riley, tremendous job. And
thank you very much.
Very proud of you. As you say, Christmas miracle, one day at a time, my friend, one day at a time, but very, very proud of you. Heartfelt, takes a lot of guts to speak like that and send
His mom is also behind him too.
I
because he gets to
I
go
saw
home
he
tomorrow.
had his, I saw he had his peeps back there. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. I saw that, the support
Yeah.
system there. But great
Yeah,
job and good
Thank you,
health.
sir.
God bless you. Okay.
You too,
Now,
sir.
following up after Riley and Liberty Prep is the Conservatory of the Arts. Of course, that's led by Mr. Soccer Ryan Kelly, principal, Rochelle Santore, and William Soto, assistant principal, Sarah Waterhouse, and Kelsey Brown, teachers. And tonight we're going to hear from Ross Sharp, Zaylee Morales. So I'll turn it over to the principal Kelly's on, or the administrators, to do any introduction if you'd like. We'd love that. And
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Maybe Ms. Waterhouse or Ms. Brown would like to talk about the play a little bit, maybe introduce what the students are going to talk about.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much for having us this evening. We are delighted to have both with us 11th grader junior Ross Sharp and 7th grader Zaylee Morales. They are two of our cast members for the first play to be put on at the Conservatory of the Arts in our beautiful auditorium. So I will pass it on over to Ross first to share with us what theater means to him and what it's been like to really work with everyone and put on our first play this year. So go ahead, Ross.
Thank you.
Okay. So first off, I just wanted to thank my teachers for letting me do this in general. I'm really excited for not only the play, but the ability to actually get on stage and have a performance go this time. Because before, with COVID and all sorts of things like that, we didn't have the opportunity to show off our talents or like really get to interact and build connections like we have in drama club so far. And I'm just really thankful for that, to see like other like-minded people and to build community, trust, and just to be able to interact and connect on a deeper level where I'm just really thankful for the school environment, because it's helped me a lot, not only grow as a person, but to understand myself, to express myself, and it's made me who I am as a person. So I just want to thank everyone for that.
Nice job, Ross. Thank you. Zaylee, you're up.
Next up, we have Zaylee Morales. Zaylee is a seventh grader and is new to our school, but is already an upstanding member of our community and is a staunch believer in theater. And she is going to tell us what theater means to her.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Brown. Theater has always been a really big part in my life. I've always loved acting. I've always done acting. It's always just been something that has been really special to me and something that I've always done. And to get to be a part of a school that allows me to be able to share that talent and be able to do that talent is really, it's amazing. And it's great the amount of support I get from my teachers and peers every single day. It truly does feel like an absolute honor. The school and the people in it, everyone is so kind and very supporting. And it's always really nice because a lot of my life I have had been labeled as weird or, things that I liked or things that I did were usually different than others. So to get to be a part of a school that allows me to embrace myself, embrace who I am, and be able to embrace the things that I liked was just a absolute miracle for me. And to get to be a part of a show and to be a part of a play is really exciting for me. And it's really nice when I have people around me who are just so supportive and so kind all the time. It truly is amazing to get to be in an environment like this.
Zaylee, great job. You're not weird. You're creative. You're creative. Great job. And Ross.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To all our student speakers, you did a great, great job. That concludes our student speak out. We'll be in recess for a few minutes before we go into our regularly scheduled meeting. And again, to all our students and their families, wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and a joyous New Year and good health for myself and school committee members. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
We were there. Yeah. Good evening. We'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Monroe Naylor? Present. Attorney Murphy? Present. Mr. Gonzalez?
Mr. Gonzalez sends his regrets, and Josiah, we hope your family is feeling better.
Ms. Gresham?
Ms. Gresham also sends her regrets. She just finished successful knee surgery. We wish you good health, speedy recovery, and encouragement.
Ms. Hurst? Present. Mr. Collins?
Here.
Mayor Sarno?
President, will we all please rise for a moment of silence and begin the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. And on behalf of myself and the school committee members, we all wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and a joyous, joyous New Year. I'd like to thank Focus Springfield, Josue, who's with us tonight, for continuing to be able to, we can hold these public meetings. And again, to Barbara Gresham, we wish you a speedy recovery on the knee surgery, too. With that, we'll move to the agenda, and we'll have approval or approve the minutes for December 1st, 2022 regular session and December 6th, 2022 special working session school committee meetings. Any questions or comments?
So moved.
Okay, hearing none, there's a motion on the floor by Vice Chair Collins. There's a second. Second by Attorney Murphy. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor?
Yes.
Attorney Murphy? Mr. Gonzalez? Absent. Ms. Gresham? Absent. Ms. Hurst?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. There are no voting items this evening. We'll move to Section 4, informational discussion items. A is Renaissance School Best Practices Update. Superintendent Warwick, please.
Thank you, Mayor. We're going to highlight some of our schools that, in spite of the pandemic and the recovery, were performing at high levels and actually made some significant increases last year, again, in spite of all the challenges. And one of those schools we're going to start with tonight is Renaissance School. Some of the noteworthy pieces with Renaissance School is a 94.6 four-year graduation rate, up 18.9 in the last 10 years. Dropout rate, 0.6%, down 1.8%. Math scaled score, English scaled scores, 495.6, and went up to a 51.4 student growth percentile, a 12% increase from last year. Math scaled score, 488.2, the student growth percentile, 47.1, plus 10% from the year before. A 74.1 rate in science. So Principal Coburn and her team have done a fabulous job at Renaissance, and they wanted to talk about some of the positive things that are going on there. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to Principal Coburn.
Thank you, Superintendent Warwick.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much. I want to just acknowledge Mayor Sarno, Superintendent Warwick, and school committee members. It is truly an honor to be here to talk about the work that is happening. I'm joined by members of my team, and we will highlight some of our best practices. I believe you have in your packet on the presentation that is also on screen. So I'll be talking about what you see here. So the first thing that we wanted to talk about is what makes us different, which I think is our secret sauce to success. The three areas that we are focusing on is our academic approach, which is grounded in EL education. We're the only EL education school in the Springfield School District. And so it definitely is something that we're really proud of. This year and last year, we focused more on using expeditions to drive instructions. And Mr. Chavez, our math ILS, will talk a little bit about one of the expeditions that is getting at our literacy focus this year. We'll also talk about character development. I know that we're joined by our EL lead teacher, Ms. Foote, and so Mr. Pear will speak on her behalf tonight. We also want to just talk about how we've been thinking about Portraits of a Graduate, really merging it with our core values and lifting it up to bring us to the next level as a school. And then the last one is our focus on race and equity. We've been focused on it in over the past, I would say, 8 years, but really each year getting deeper and deeper into our focus
And our focus on race and equity has allowed us to really think about the stakeholders that we really want to focus on to elevate student achievement, student voice, and student learning. So our academic approach, I'll start with that. We've been focused on backwards planning. And so our teachers have been leaning into creating 6 to 9 week unit plans aligned to the state standards. And our focus has been on reading. One of the pieces that we noted early on during the pandemic was that our students' ability to have the stamina to persevere through long reading passages had definitely dwindled. And when students came back to school, we saw that a gap in their reading ability. And it wasn't just in their ability, their reading as it pertains to ELA, but it was across all disciplines. And so our focus for the past 2 years has been on thinking about how students attack reading assignments, how they approach their assignments, and their understanding of it. In addition to that, we've used Portraits of a Graduate to really elevate that character development. So making sure that we are focused on academics, certainly, but we're also marrying it with our commitment to character development. And that is done through expeditions. And so our expeditions are embedded in our unit plans, and they are connected to real world experiences for the students, something that they'll be invested in. Again, talking about our character development during the pandemic, one of the things that we realized very quickly is that in order to continue engaging students, especially during a time that was really hard, was that we had to elevate student voice more than we've done in the past. And we had to make school exciting so that students would be here, and that while they were here, they were engaged in rigorous academic studies. So some of our character focus, we have crew, not just for students, but also for adults. In fact, this week is Spirit Week for our adult crews. And so we are modeling for our students the value and the purpose of crew. We also have Adventure Ed, and Mr. Pear is going to speak about that. Portraits of a Graduate. Middle School Tenacity is a club that was started last year. It's a statewide competition for Black and Hispanic students, and Renaissance participated at the middle school level, and we won first place in the state. We also, for our character focus, kick off in January with something that we call Clash of the Classes. And so it is for high school students, where students develop lessons for their peers, which focus on community service, also competitive games, but really about building character. And then the last is just our commitment for student-led family conferences. We wanted to make sure that despite the pandemic, which seemed to be pulling families in many different directions, that our focus to have 100% of families involved in our school did not dwindle. And so we increased our focus on how we brought families in. And I think the pandemic presented a unique opportunity because we no longer had to have parents only come in. We could allow parents to complete those student-led family conferences on Zoom, which again allowed us to increase our family and community engagement. The next piece is our Portraits of a Graduate. I think Mr. Wright is on. Yeah, he is multitasking. Mr. Wright, do you want to talk a little bit about our work with Portraits of a Graduate?
Sure, Dr. Coburn. So at the Springfield Renaissance School, our work with Portraits of a Graduate, we really started focusing on it this summer. And when we look at one of our core values, our community commitments as a school, it really leads itself to blending that together, especially around our character traits of respect, cultural sensitivity, responsibility, friendship, and courage. Also, our mission statement, some quotes we pulled out, as well as crew that Dr. Coburn spoke about. And all of these are visuals around our school as a whole. Sorry about that, I'm at the basketball game. They are things that are posted around our school, not just in the hallways, but they live in all of our lessons that are taught by. Is it okay?
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I appreciate you jumping on. I know that you're at the basketball game. I'll take it away. And so our Portraits of a Graduate work, we have again been really focused on race and equity. And this particular element, what POG lead, is something that we've been really incorporating in all that we do, empowering students to be able to see themselves not only in our curriculum, but also to lead that work. Mr. Pear is going to talk about our crew and character development.
Hi, I hope everybody can hear me. Thank you very much for giving us this platform to speak tonight. Crew really hits at multiple layers of who we are. It's part of our work plan, our multi-year work plan for Renaissance. It's also one of the three dimensions of student achievement. And we found that Crew plays a vital role in helping our kids become self-directed learners, become reflective practitioners of themselves and of their learners. And it also is integral to helping our kids create that sense of belongingness in the Renaissance community, which is so important so that they feel trustworthy and have a great deal of trust in us and confidence in us, but also in one another. From October on is kind of the busy season for Crew in a lot of ways. Can we go back one slide? Yes. From October on is kind of the busy season. Our kids start their student-led family conference planning. They in November they deliver those student-led family conferences. If the school committee hasn't had a chance to observe one, I think it'd be great if you came in during our next round to try and observe the student-led and see how our kids are reflective on where they've come, where they're going, their contributions to the school community, and what their successes and struggles are. The indicators of the POG that they've demonstrated. Kids have ownership over their learning, and that creates that sense of community and belongingness within Renaissance. I also want to point out that starting in early January, our 8th graders and our 10th graders are going to begin preparing for their passage portfolio presentations that'll occur in May. And those are they're inclusive of multi-years, not just this year. And it really creates kids to reflect back on where they've come and to do some goal setting and some problem solving for where they want to go. Also, this week, being December, we have our March to the Post Office, which is an EL education staple. And our seniors have been working with crews throughout the school, multi-grade level crews throughout the school, to talk about the college experience, to talk about their high school experience, to talk about researching majors and the colleges that they're interested in. And our crews are creating posters to celebrate our seniors when they march on Monday, December 19th, from Symphony Hall to the post office. You can see a couple of quotes on the screen from some of our shareholders, our students and parents. And what I love to see is students feeling welcome and safe, all right, and being comfortable, and parents feeling that their child is welcome and safe. And that plays such a huge role in who we are. So Adventure Ed. So Adventure Ed is part of, we started it during the inception of Renaissance way back in 2006. At that time, we just had two grade levels, grade 6 and grade 9. And our 9th graders went on a week-long outward bound trip. And we did that for a couple of years. And then we started looking at how can we make this program more inclusive of the entire school and not just a grade level. EL education was born out of Outward Bound in Kurt Hahn. And we want to take a little bit of that Outward Bound experience and apply it to the Springfield Renaissance School. So Adventure Ed is how we start every year. It hits at our community commitments, our perseverance, our respect, our responsibility, our friendship, our cultural sensitivity, and it prepares students for the challenges that they're going to face in the classrooms, on the athletic fields, just in life throughout the school year. Our Adventure Ed program builds that sense of community that's similar to Crew within grade levels and provides students with those opportunities to really feel confident and safe to push themselves outside the comfort zones. It is part of the primacy of self-discovery, which is one of the guiding principles for EL education. And I think that the quote here is really important and very applicable to public education as a whole. And so I want to take a second just to read it. In EL education schools, students undertake tasks that require perseverance, fitness, craftsmanship, imagination, self-discipline, and significant achievement. A teacher's primary task is to help students overcome their fears and discover they can do more than they think they can. And this is evident in the expeditions that we undertake at school, in the classrooms and in the community. But it's also when we head out to some of our partners, like Movement Terrain in Wilbraham, or Hiking Peak and Mountain, and Hiking Mount Tom, and Empower Leadership, and Adventure East, going out canoeing, and hiking in the woods. So we want kids to push themselves out of their comfort zones and to tackle that next challenge, because if they can do it in person, they can do it academically. And I will hand it over to Benny.
Great. So before we pass it to Mr. Chavez, our math ILS, one of the questions that is always asked in the EL network and when people come to our school is, again, what is the key to Renaissance success? And you'll notice that we talked a lot about character development. For us as a school, it's really important that we make sure that students are seen, right? And that we understand who they are authentically. Once we get at that we focus so much on character, then the academics come a little bit easier. So you'll see that for us, our secret sauce is the community and the character building. Mr. Chavez is going to take it away, really focusing on a discrete piece in math, which we had a lot of success in. So Mr. Chavez.
Thank you, Dr. Coburn. I first want to just say thank you to the school committee for giving me this opportunity to be able to present to you. I know the stress is starting to kind of boil in because now the math guy is talking. Don't worry, I'll try to keep it in my beard. So our focus in the math department last year was around equity. And I was kind of inspired by Dr. Johnson, the math supervisor for Springfield. She introduced me to this book a couple years ago about dismantling racism in mathematics instruction. And I really got inspired and dived really into it. And it just talks really deeply about how mathematics needs to be accessible to all students. A lot of times people have this focus that it's either black or white, it's yes or no, it's right or wrong. And there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of mathematical thinking that goes on, discussions. Students of different backgrounds learn math in different kinds of ways. And it really inspired me to really focus our math instruction around those things. So really diving into EL, because I was in Springfield my whole life. I went to Central, went to Kylie, now I'm at Renaissance leading here. And, I got introduced to EL and I looked at their protocols and I'm like, this is exactly what we need. We need to have discussions. We need to have kids talking about math. We need to have them displaying math in different ways. And so we introduced a lot of that stuff. And then I provided educators feedback on their lesson plans around equity. And I'll get into more detail on that in a moment. This year, our focus is around reading and expeditions. And again, I'm using another anchor text in developing literate mathematicians around an NCTM text that's really diving into how to dissect and unpack open response questions and how to get students to really access the mathematics. And again, it comes from an equity lens. And I'm doing this by looking at weekly unit plan feedback with them. And I have a lot of research data that I've developed with students as well as educators. And then we're really focusing on a wealth inequality expedition in one of the grade levels. Dr. Coburn, you can move to the next slide. So why equity, right? And we talk about this, we throw this word around, but it appears in math a lot. And there's four really big things that jump out at me. It's being a Springfield person and a huge math guy. There's the NCTM position, which is addressing equity and access, includes both ensuring that all students attain mathematics proficiency and increasing the numbers of students from all racial, ethnic, linguistic, gender, socioeconomic groups who attain the highest level of mathematics achievement. There's also the EL position, the core practices. Teachers empower all students to see themselves as mathematicians, refuting stereotypes about who can succeed in mathematics and celebrating the past and current mathematical contributions of diverse individuals and groups. Then, of course, there's the strategic plan that Springfield has put together for the next 6 years. Their mission statement: prioritize purposeful teaching, empowering learners, culturally responsive instruction, collaborative learning environments, and joyful and meaningful learning. And then portrait of a graduate. There are three big quotes that pop out at me: actively oppose bias, discrimination, and racism, collaborate with others on diverse teams to achieve shared goals, and then understand the impact of systemic racism in America. And all of these things live in mathematics and mathematics instruction. You can move to the next slide. So how, right? How are you doing this? So the focus is on protocols, like I said earlier, that engage students in the 8 mathematical practices. Why the mathematical practices? Well, these are skills that students develop in mathematics that goes across all disciplines, including the world around them and how they interact. To be able to make sense of problems and persevere in solving them is a skill that they build in math, but they use for everything, everyday purposes, whether they have a problem in front of them about childcare, whether it's about a problem of making the decision of how to feed their family, they have to persevere in solving that problem. And that's a mathematical skill that they develop. To be able to construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others, that's being able to have a conversation with someone and be able to look at that reason and be like, is that the best decision? Is that the best argument? So again, it's a math skill. And building that through protocols, discussions, conversations. And then obviously giving teacher feedback on lessons that purposely incorporate protocols through an equity lens. Are you doing this in your lessons? How are you incorporating these equitable practices in your lessons? Because math isn't just, let's do these equations. No, it's bigger than that, right? It has a bigger sense than that, especially for the students that we instruct. Thank you. You can move to the next slide, Dr. Coburn. So reading, why is reading our focus this year? Well, historically, constructive responses are the lowest scores, but they have the greatest leverage for student success on standardized assessments, no matter what standardized assessment they're taking. Students know math skills from what we see, but they don't answer these questions due to the access or ability to access the problem and their confidence in answering them. We all know we see those giant word problems and the student freezes up. They know the math, right? But it's being able to access that. And that to me is an equity piece. So again, coming back to equity and being able to have them unpack that stuff. So how am I doing that? Well, unit plan feedback. So very different than weekly lesson plan feedback. Now we're looking at how can we backwards plan from a constructive response and how are we going to get students there? How are we going to get them, again, equitable access to that problem? And then obviously I've been collecting data and I've been using randomized students from each grade level, each background, and then asking not only quantitative questions like constructive responses, how are you doing on these, but also qualitative. I'm getting student survey feedback because the students are ultimately who we're impacting. So their voices need to be heard in the decisions that we make in instruction, especially our students right in front of us. They know what they need. They need to tell us and we need to adjust our practice to that. And then we model it by teaching the 3 reads and different types of reading strategies. And then finally, we have the expedition that we're doing through 11th grade math. And this really spoke to me when the school committee was pushing the Springfield financial literacy course. And I thought, well, we can do this in 11th grade math through a very hands-on experience where students will be experiencing a lesson through math, but with meeting with creditors. They'll be meeting with people of color who work in the fields of banking, of loans, of different types of financial access for them. And they're going to learn those skills to be able to be financially literate in the world that we live in. And it's all about that equity piece and giving them an equitable access to those things. So that's what we're working on in mathematics. Thank you again for having me, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Benny. And then our final piece that we'll talk about is just our college and career readiness. And so quickly, I'll just say, historically, Renaissance has been the school that is focused exclusively on preparing students to go to college. And so that is still our focus. But one of the things that we learned very quickly during the pandemic was that we needed to make sure that our students were prepared for different pathways. And so one of the things that we have made sure is that when students graduate from Renaissance, they have the 4 different pathways, and that is accessible to all students. So that all of our students, when they graduate, they have college, career readiness, military, and a gap year, and they can choose any one of those 4 pathways. One of the pieces that we're really proud of is this legacy that we've created. And so this year, once again, we have Quest Bridge Scholarship recipients, and that is students being matched with a Ivy League college, and they get to attend 100% free. They pay nothing. And this year we had our first Yale acceptance, which is huge, really excited about that. along with a student match with Boston University, and then a student match with Williams College. So we feel like we are on the right track because our students are getting into competitive colleges. I thank you all for allowing us to show and showcase our work and talk about our best practices. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Colburn, and your staff doing wonderful work there, and it's proofs in the pudding. I don't know if any school committee members have any questions or comments for Superintendent Warwick.
I would like to make a comment.
Ms. Naylor, please.
I just want to say, Dr. Colburn, to you and your team, keep up the good work. The data is phenomenal. It's nice to hear about it, but see it in action as well. You're doing a great job, and I just want to commend you. Keep doing what you're doing, and keep letting us know if you need our help to do anything else.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Naylor. Ms. Colburn, I've had a number of some of my interns. Oh, I'm sorry. Some of my interns have come from your school and been quite successful, and one is they've gone to some top-notch schools. So, as Ms. Naylor said, keep up your good work. I apologize, Ms. Hurst.
That's okay, Mr. Mayor. Dr. Colburn and staff, it was a great presentation, and I really appreciated how you demonstrated how you were putting equity into action. In particular in math, I thought that was really interesting. My question for you all is, are you doing it in other subjects? So I hear you reference reading or ELA and math. Are you doing it in any of your other core subjects?
We are. I'm not going to put Liz on the spot. And so one of our focuses as a EL school is race and equity. And so every year, despite the pandemic, we weren't able to, but every year we open up our doors for educators around the world to come in, and they come in to specifically look at our work with race and equity. So it extends through our student voice groups, which focus on race and equity. Our crew lessons provided by Ms. Foote Simons focuses on race and equity. And then our curriculum, we did an audit maybe 5 years ago. We went to Harvard. We were part of a study. So all of our curriculum is culturally responsive. And then we do survey data in-house 3 times a year that focuses on if students feel seen, heard, and they feel that do they feel they belong? And then we respond to it and make pivots as needed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst.
Just like to thank Principal Colburn and her staff. Great presentation, but more importantly, just great work with our students, especially during the difficult situations we've had for the last few years. You've continued your outstanding work. So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you on behalf of our kids.
Thank you, Superintendent Warwick. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, Ms.
for
Naylor.
Superintendent. So some of the things that Dr. Colburn's team talked about, and I know that although they have a unique model at that school, are there elements of that we're able to replicate in our other schools, seeing as they've obtained this level of success with the work that they're doing?
Yeah, different approaches, but the same, going towards the same things, just in a different way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Naylor. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Thank you again, our Principal Colburn and team. Wonderful presentation.
Thank you. And I want to say thank you to Ms. Wells. Thank you for inviting us, and thank you for your continued support of Renaissance. Goodbye.
Yeah, bye, all right. We'll now move to B, internships and career pathways update. Superintendent Warwick, please.
Yeah, as part of our Portrait of a Graduate work, we received tremendous feedback from the community. A few things really came out of that feedback relative to focus areas and some of the things we talked about earlier, the financial literacy. One of those things was in the area of college and career readiness, was really to get focused on improving our internship and career pathway program. And we've done a tremendous amount of work on that this year. And Kim Wells has been working with Pam Matheson, our new district internship and career pathway administrator. But we've really ramped up the program and some great things going on. And I'm going to have them make a presentation to you now.
Thank you, Superintendent Warwick. Ms. Wells, Ms. Matheson.
Thank you so much, Mayor Sarno. Good evening, Mayor Sarno, Superintendent Warwick, and members of the school committee. Pam and I are really excited to be here tonight to share with you an update of our student internships and career pathways program. So during our work on the portrait of a grad, we listened to all of the stakeholders involved in that work, including students and families, educators, community leaders, and members of our business community. And over the course of many conversations, the importance of providing our students with real life learning opportunities, specifically work-based learning experiences, was discussed. And so as a result of the work established through the portrait of a grad, the district established a goal of further prioritizing student career readiness and work-based learning opportunities at all of our schools. So in continuing to expand on our student internship and career pathways program, we hired a career pathways and student internship administrator. Her name is Pam Matheson, and she comes to us from the UMass Eisenberg School of Management, where she was the assistant director of career development. She also worked at Mass Mutual, where she was the career pathways program and IT Academy internship program manager. So we interviewed and hired Pam in July and of 2022, and she hit the ground running. And so after hiring Pam, one of the things that we set about doing next was going through and working with the schools to hire 11 career readiness coordinators at the 9 high schools. And 2 of those career readiness coordinators are full-time internship pathway facilitators, along with 1 co-op director. In addition to hiring Pam and the career readiness counselors, we also worked with Mass Hire, the Workforce Development Board, to secure funding from a variety of different sources, including Connecting Activities funds, where we secured approximately $200,000 to really work on connecting activities grants with the schools and with the funding. We secured additional $50,000 on innovation pathways, which that money was served to help us continue our innovation pathways program at the Conservatory of the Arts and help us in securing the possibility of building a multimedia studio, because the innovation pathway program at Conservatory of the Arts is really focused on digital media pathways, and we're working with STCC on that. In addition, and something that we're really excited about, is that we've secured funding through STEM in the high school senior internship education project for paid internships for seniors who are interested in attending college and majoring in education. So we look at this as a really great opportunity to not only engage students in possibly becoming educators, but also looking at possibly continuing to build another opportunity for a pipeline for us to secure educators coming back into the city and working in our programs. And I just want to take a quick moment to thank, Dave Cruz and Christine Abramowitz and Antasia Meadows and Larry Martin for their support from Mass Hire. They've been integral in really helping us expand on and get this off the ground. So with that being said, I'd like to turn over the next couple of slides to our Internship and Career Pathways Administrator, Pam Matheson.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to obviously be part of the school district, and thanks to Kim and the superintendent for giving me this great opportunity. So with that, essentially with having a new team, we wanted to make sure that we were very intentional in how we move forward with our work. When you look at career development, education, and readiness, when you say the word internship, that's kind of at the end of the process. And so there's a whole spectrum of work that goes into that. And the bottom line is we all have a stake in that. You heard it from Mr. Chavez, just talking at Renaissance and the financial literacy component. So as educators, we all own an element of this work. And so with this great work that's going on in our district, because our team's new, and except for maybe 1 or 2 people, we're basically starting from ground zero. So we wanted to make sure that we were being very mindful of everyone's efforts and just kind of making sure that we're understanding all that before we just started to go place students out on internships. So the idea was that we would start with a strategic plan, and we would work with the administration and the principals to gain kind of their insights on their strategies that are going on in the building and making sure that we're in alignment with those strategies. The first step of that was gathering an inventory of all the current career development work that was going on. As we know, each school is very unique and their programs are different, as we just heard about Renaissance. And so because each building's different and each program's different, we just wanted to make sure that we collectively have at least a good foundation and understanding of who our internal stakeholders are and who are, where is those experiential learning opportunities happening and those career development activities. So that way we can make sure that we're being very strategic in how we spend our time and energy. So as you look at the career, and career readiness process, the DESE has that broken down into kind of three main buckets, and that's career awareness, career exploration, and career immersion. And there's a host of activities that range from taking a career interest inventory to researching a career path, to identifying your strengths, to then starting to talk with people and learning about those careers. And so all the way up to job shadowing, job site visits, and then obviously ultimately, hopefully going into an internship or work-based learning opportunity. And so we are really taking a comprehensive look at all those activities and then determining where do we want to align our work as we first start for year one. So the idea is that when you look at that district-wide and school-based, we want to make sure that our systems and structures and supports for those students are aligned. And so we're kind of fine-tuning those plans as we're getting input from all those stakeholders. The next part in that process is obviously training and professional development. A lot goes into sending students out into internships and part-time positions. And so we want to make sure that our staff is fully aware of obviously the safety protocol, how we vet positions, understanding employment law when you're dealing with people who are under the age of 18. So, and how to vet positions and employers. We're examining our process and procedures as we are looking at that process. And then also in terms of making sure that our new career readiness coordinators are increasing their own understanding of the industry and where the demands are in our business community and what those career opportunities look like. And so, and then within that, the reporting systems that we use to gather all that information and report that back to DESE. So there's a lot of work that obviously goes into this to making sure that, one, we're doing quality work and then also tracking our progress. And ultimately, with that, we can't do that work without our employers. And so we're looking at developing and have already branched out in adding a few new partnerships. We've been working with most recently with Big Y and Springfield Water and Sewer Commission, as well as a few others. And they're very, very interested in creating a pipeline program with us. And we're really looking forward to launching some of those opportunities this spring and summer. So just to kind of give you an understanding of what our goals are for this year, obviously, given the constraints of the pandemic, we weren't able to provide a number of internship or work-based learning opportunities out in the community, really until this year. And so when we look at the type of placements that we had last year, they were mostly in part-time positions, obviously, in school placements, and then some, obviously, the co-op education world. So as we continue to refine and expand student internships and pathways, we obviously set an ambitious goal for this year because we feel like we've got some work to do to kind of catch up from the past couple of years. And so we have to increase awareness for our students, for our coordinators, and for our employers. And so with this being the first regular school year and restrictions lessening, we're looking to ramp up to help address the demand that's out in the community. And also really also looking at understanding the landscape and that our students want to work, they want to be paid, they need to be paid. So how do we take those part-time positions that they're in and be very intentional in how we leverage those experiences so they're skill building activities where they can identify where they're adding value. They understand what their strengths are and how they leverage that and where they make an impact in those businesses. So then they can ultimately level up that experience, whether within the same position by taking on additional responsibilities or understanding their transferable skills and then seeking out the next one to bring their next skill set up to the next level. And that's where we're really trying to focus our efforts and making sure that we are increasing their knowledge and their confidence and that helping them understand where they add value and then how they articulate that when they're engaging with employers throughout this process. Now, naturally, we can't send students out into the work world until we know that they're prepared. And so when you're looking at are students fully aware of the opportunities that are out there? Have they validated what they think those understand those opportunities mean, and are they prepared for them? So as you look at each stage of the career development process, that's really critical because it's really a cyclical process. And we want to make sure that we are tapping into their curiosity, encouraging them to explore that by engaging in the variety of activities that are being hosted at the schools at the district level or through community-based organizations. And then also learning how to communicate and reach out to people in those industries and how to network and how to start gathering intel and building their own network that potentially within that process could lead to a potential internship. So the idea is that we're helping them discover who they are, find something that they enjoy doing, and then understanding the skills that go behind those careers and the next steps that they need to take in order to achieve that kind of early career opportunity. So we want them to try things on, and we want them to reflect, and we want them to kind of take that information and work strategically with our career readiness coordinators to go to the next step. So the best way to provide them is through multiple opportunities, but also to engage our employers through this career development process. If you wait until someone's 18 and then try to recruit them, you've kind of missed the opportunity to build a rapport and build an understanding with them. So the idea is we want to increase the engagement with our employers in the career development process. So bringing them in for career conversations, classroom speakers, working in a micro internship capacity where maybe they have a project that would align perfectly with a math class where they can do a business case scenario, et cetera. And everything in between from job shadowing, site visits, et cetera. And it really turns into a win-win situation in that case, because students are obviously going to learn more about the opportunities, the skills that they need in order to work towards those types of career paths. And then the employer then has a chance to potentially influence the student's decision earlier on so they can make a more informed decision about maybe what that next step for them is. Maybe it is college, maybe it's a 2-year program, maybe it's a training development program, et cetera. So the idea is we want to get in front of them and we want to engage them, cultivate them, and develop them throughout this process, 9th through 12th grade. So next, I just want to kind of give you a highlight of, Kim's going to toss it back to Kim so she can kind of give you an understanding of where we're at right now.
Thanks, Pam. So the pie chart in front of you represents the number of students that we've engaged in work-based learning experiences. As of November of 2022, we currently have 138 students engaged in work-based learning experiences, internships, and co-ops. And these placements occur in a variety of different industries, including construction and design, transportation, retail, pharmacy, technology, healthcare, art, media, communications, human resources, so on and so forth. But the one that we're really excited about is that 54% of our students have been placed in work-based learning experiences, internships, and co-op opportunities in education and childcare. And the reason why we're really excited about that is because the placements create opportunities for our students who are interested in careers in education to gain experiences working as teaching assistants or alongside paraeducators. We have a couple of students who are working with athletic directors and athletic trainers. And so we're excited because not only does it provide the student with a relevant experience prior to entering college, possibly, but it also helps, as I mentioned before, to create an additional pipeline for our students to come back and become educators in our own system. And what we've learned is that when we grow our own, that's when we find some of our most successful educators for students. So we're really excited about the number of kids that we have in all of our schools throughout the district really participating in teaching assistantships and other opportunities in education. So the next slide basically just details for you some of the businesses and some of the organizations that we have students going out to. So you can see in education, we've got most of our students are teaching assistants. or they're working in our early education centers through the co-op opportunities at Putnam and the future co-op opportunities that we'll have at SciTech. We've got them in tutoring and as athletic trainers, and the majority of the opportunities for those internships come from the Springfield Public School education placements. We have 11% of our students out on work-based learning and co-op experiences in construction. And as you can see, there are a number of companies, including Easy Construction, Rosenthal Remodeling, Grounding Services, who have students that they've taken on in these particular areas. 7% of our students are out in transportation and auto, and Rick's Auto Body, the Department of Public Works, and Albany Street Auto are some of the employers and businesses who have taken students on in internships and work-based learning experiences and co-op opportunities through them. Retail and pharmacy tech, CVS, we've got 3.5% of our students out on pharmaceutical tech internships and another 3.5% out in the customer service retail industry. And then some examples in our manufacturing, science, and engineering are Trident Alloys, Kleberg, East Hampton Machine and Tools, and Valley Plating. And so in addition to the student placements in work-based learning activities, our schools have held a number of events and activities, which are some of those connecting activity pieces that Pam was talking about. So just want to share with you some of those. Schools have held a number of employer information sessions and career fairs, including both virtual and in-person career fairs. As a matter of fact, we just had a career fair at SciTech where approximately 75 students went and met with local businesses and business owners to talk about things that they were hoping for their future and looking at interest inventories and career options with businesses and employers in the immediate area. Our next career fair is actually scheduled to take place on January 12th, and that's scheduled to take place at our Springfield High School. So we've been really working on trying to establish career fairs so our students can really get out and see what's happening and look at the various opportunities that they have, because what we're really wanting to do is let students know that when you say you're interested in retail management, it's not just the 2 or 3 opportunities that you might be thinking of, that there's so much of a bigger world beyond that. And so we're trying to expose our students to all of the different career pathways that could exist that maybe there's not enough information about out there for them. In addition to the career visits and the career fairs, our students have held industry-related conferences in cybersecurity and girls in trade, and they've held employer visits, including a recent visit to Focus Springfield with students at the Conservatory of the Arts, and we're working. Focus Springfield has really stepped up and started working with the Conservatory of the Arts students and thinking about a video for their Innovations Pathways program. So thank you to Focus Springfield for really taking that on and embracing our kids in that pathway. So we're super appreciative of that. We also have worked on establishing new employee and employer relationships and partnerships with other businesses, including the Springfield Water and Sewer Commission, Big Y, Junior Achievement, and Sodexo.
Very good.
Okay, so what's next? So now that we have our sea legs underneath us, we obviously are going to continue to leverage all the great work that's already happening in the district, strengthen those connections, and working together to streamline to provide comprehensive opportunities so that the student experience and the employer experience is really tightened and unified. So we're going to obviously continue to expand our employer engagement and placements and partnerships. We obviously need that. We need to reach that big 400 number. And so now that I think that our new career readiness coordinators feel like they've got their sea legs underneath them and they've had some professional development already and gained some professional development with local businesses, we're going to be in a really good spot to kind of get the ground running with right after the holidays. Again, looking at the whole career development spectrum and activities within a building and taking that building approach and working with all the internal stakeholders. We're really looking forward to kind of making sure that we have kind of common competencies around that 9th through 12th grade, understanding there's some flexibility for within each building. And ultimately, we really want to organize the pathways experience. So as students are experimenting or kind of dabbling in the areas that they think they are interested in, they kind of know their next steps and kind of what, not just the positions, but what are the employers? What are the skills? What's the education track? What does that mean if I don't want to go to college? What are my early career opportunities with a high school diploma? What is it with some additional training or certifications? So really look at expanding that information, and the knowledge is going to be tremendous, as well as potentially looking at assessing what schools might be in a very good spot to expand our innovation pathways initiatives. And as part of that initiative, we also want to increase capacity of our own staff through externships with those employers. So just that's kind of everything at a high level. Just wanted to kind of bring it back to Kim to wrap it up for us.
Yeah, just wanted to take the opportunity once again to thank Mayor Sarno, members of the school committee, Superintendent Warwick, all of the stakeholders participating in the Portrait of the Grad work, district and school staff who have supported the student internship and career pathways program, and a special thanks to Dave Cruz, Christine Abramowitz, and Tasia Meadows and Larry Martin from the Mass Hire Workforce Board for their ongoing support of this initiative. It's been great to be able to provide this opportunity and really work on expanding it for our students. And we're just super excited about what the future holds. So thank you so much for allowing us to provide you an update on that.
Thanks, Kim. And Pam, it's great to have you on our team. You were always very helpful in your Mass Mutual days, so it's great to have you over on this side.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any questions?
Great to be here.
Any questions or comments?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Kim and Pam. And you may have said this and I may have missed it, but what's the front door? How do you recruit the students? Are they coming from all of the high schools across the city? And if so, how do they know about these opportunities?
So it's a great question, School Committee Woman Hurst. So we have career development classes that we offer in our schools, and we also have our career readiness coordinators work in the buildings. And so as we've been developing the plan, those career readiness counselors and the career development educators have been working with students. And the reality is if any student who's interested in being a part of an internship or career pathway simply has to express interest. And then there's a group of people who really envelop them and work with them on looking at what they're interested in, taking an interest inventory, thinking about what they might be wanting to do down the line in terms of a career pathway or a college major, and really thinking about that. And then, as we look at that alongside their academics and their performance, and it's not so much, what their grades are, but like how do we help them do both at the same time? Individual plans are developed for those students, and then we work to try to get students out. So it's really starting to pick up speed and momentum, and we've started talking about, so for students who might have opportunities during the day, but they might need to miss a class, what does that look like? For a student who may not be able to miss a class, do they go to night school, or do they participate in summer programming, or do they participate in a summer internship because maybe a year-long internship isn't something for them? So really it's on an individual basis, and it's really based on what students expressing an interest in participating in these things.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst. I have to say, I've had some great interns, and I noticed you're working with Dupac Sheet Metal. And I'm so happy they were an East Long Meadow company that we struck a deal. They wanted to expand, and we brought them to Springfield Page Boulevard. And they're hiring at the pipeline through Putnam Vocational Technical Academy. Also with our Springfield Fire Department, we've hired a couple of young people there that have done very well in the mechanics world. Big Y has been just always outstanding, and water and sewer we have. And Sedesco with the culinary arts. So it's a great pipeline, and I just letting people know that even on the city side, we're hiring this talent that wants to move into the workforce with their skills on it. So I think it's fantastic that we show the kids why the education is important, because in their eyes, it shows them how they can make money, which gets their attention on that. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Vice Chair Collins, and I'll go to Ms. Naylor.
Thank you
Ms.
so
Naylor.
much. I have 3 questions. I want to piggyback off Mrs. Hurst's question around the student access. Is there a point of advertisement just so that students know that they can request the service? And if so, how would they access that information?
Pam, do you want to take that one?
Certainly. So at each of the schools, each coordinator has kind of a different opportunity or a variety of ways that they're promoting those and advertising those opportunities. Bulletin boards within their career centers, announcements, et cetera. Our career coordinators are making themselves physically available during lunchtime and really stepping it up and making sure that people know who they are and engaging with students and really kind of not just promoting the opportunities, but themselves and kind of their openness to help them out and build a rapport. The next thing that I want to share is we're in the process now of developing a short-term tech solution. So we will have a platform where we'll be able to tie in from the district's website to be able to give students access to a board, if you will, of opportunities, as well as all the contact people in their buildings that they can reach out to. And so, and with that, we will be ramping up our social media outreach as well.
Wonderful, thank you. And as far as the internship partners, the employers, do you have a relationship with Bay State Health and their pipeline through the BSEP program?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they do. Matter of fact, I just met with them yesterday. And Mayor, you'll be pleasantly surprised to know that the district just hired one of their BSEP graduates into the district as a nurse. So we are very excited to expand that programming. Peter Blaine did share with us yesterday that they're still kind of in a modified mode because of the trifecta that's going on with the different illnesses. So while this is the first semester they've been able to bring back in person, the cohort sizes are smaller.
Okay.
But they definitely will be looking to ramp those up as things improve.
That's a great program, Ms. Naylor, too.
It is.
No
It's
firsthand.
phenomenal program. And the scholarship opportunities. I'm always thinking about how do we save them money and get them into their education, their secondary education, if they choose to do that. The other thing, the last question is for students, as far as the data that you provided, can you disaggregate the data just one more level just so that we can see the variation between the students who come from the vocational school at Putnam and students who are from the other schools?
Yes, School Committee Woman Monroe Naylor, we can get you that data for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Naylor. Vice Chair Collins, I know you had a question.
Yeah, well, just in the very beginning, you identified that we have hired 11 career readiness coordinators. They're in 9 high schools. Do some high schools have more than one? Is that why there's 11 there? Or
Yes,
are
that's
you
correct.
including the internship pathway facilitators in that 11?
So we do have 2 schools where they're splitting the position.
Okay.
Any
Thank
other questions or comments? Ms. Hurst?
I had two questions. So are you finding that you have enough placement sites, or is there like a shortage? Or like we have enough placement sites and not necessarily enough students to place just yet? And 2, to Mrs. Naylor's question about the data that's at the end, is that inclusive of Putnam students' placements, or is that completely separate?
So your first question, I can take, I think we're always interested in continuing to expand partnerships with businesses, no matter how large or how small. The more opportunities that we have for our students in all of the different industry areas, the more opportunities we'll have to put them out on internships and career pathways, which is why part of the work that Pam has undertaken with the school-based personnel are really trying to, engage and build on current partnerships, but expand to new partnerships, because we would love to see every industry area represented for our kids to have opportunities to go into. And I think as we get further and further along that line, we'll have more and more opportunities for our students to pick what they might want to see. So that's part of the it's part of the year one work, but it's also expanding, being intentional about expanding in year 2 and 3. So, I think the message is to any company or to any local business that's interested, we're happy to meet and talk about those possibilities. In terms of the number of students, so the aggregate number goes into the 400 that we discussed at the beginning. That does include both students in co-op, but also students in work-based learning. We actually have about 90 give or take students who are on work-based learning experiences or internships that are not in co-op programming. So that's about the average of the breakdown. And then the other 50, give or take, are from co-op at Putnam.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent Warwick.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Dave Cruz, as Kim said earlier, from the beginning, helping us getting this going. He's been tremendous in helping us with some of the grants that help facilitate it. But he's been a true partner in the work with Mass Hire. I also want to, Pam's done a great job reaching out. Jose Escribano is through his work with Portrait of a Graduate, has also been with family and community engagement, engaging businesses where they gave us a lot of feedback on what they were looking for with the Portrait of a Graduate. And the ask now is, how can you help us with these internships? So a lot of people are working on this, and every school put some of their SOA money forward to get more staff in the school. So it's a school-based approach that's making this work. So it's a team approach, but Dave Cruz was really part of our team, and I almost felt like he was on staff helping us get going. So just want to say kudos to him.
Thank you, Superintendent. Well, yeah, to Dave Cruz, who former Human Resource Director, School Department, just a great guy, always looking to facilitate. And Jose Espinano, I remember we had the Portrait of a Graduate, the summit at Springfield Technical Community College. He put that call out to, we had well over 400 organizations and businesses there saying that we need your continued help to give placements and opportunities. So I'm sure the business community will continue to heed that call. But thank you, Kim.
Mayor, one additional question. If
Pam.
you're ever able to take off the finance hat, I was going to ask about the financing. Is it, the superintendent might have partially answered it? Is it coming from SOA money?
So the school-based folks the principals are using their spending plans through SOA money, ESSER money. They're finding a way to now have the full-time coordinators in the schools, or increase. Before it was just a stipendiary position, but now as we're getting each year, we have a little more SOA money. The schools, principals, as part of their spending plan, put the money for the coordinators at the school level forward. And we funded, Pam's position and everything else out of our central fund.
So obviously, this is something that's wonderful for the children of Springfield. Going forward, we're going to need to plan for the day when there is no more of that funding.
Well, the SOA increases over 7 years, so that's something that will stay with us. So it's an extra layer of funding where we should be able to keep these positions, because that funding will stay with us. Yeah.
Thanks for the clarification. And again, to Kim and Pam. Pam, great to have you on board, too. Again, you were always very helpful to us in your days at the Mass Mutual. We appreciate that. If there's no further questions, we'll move along to the rest of the agenda. Reports of standing committees. Student Relation Parent Concerns, Ms. Gresham. Again, she's recovering from knee surgery. Building and Maintenance Committee, Vice Chair Collins.
No report at this time.
Thank you, Vice Chair Collins. Legislative Contracts Committee, that's Mr. Gonzalez. Again, we hope your family's feeling better. Curriculum Programs Committee, Ms. Hurst.
No report at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst. Budget Finance Committee, Vice Chair Collins.
No report at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. Vocational Education Committee, Attorney Murphy. Thank you, Attorney Murphy. Technology Committee, Ms. Monroe Naylor, please.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Naylor. High School Safety Committee, that's Ms. Gresham again. We wish her speedy recovery. And Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Mr. Gonzalez. And again, speedy, hope your family is feeling better. I don't know if the student representative to the school committee, Ariani Diaz from Central, is on board. She's been pretty faithful, but we can understand during the holiday season. Ariani? Okay, we will see you next time. Thank you. Report of the superintendent. Superintendent Warwick, please.
Thank you, Mayor. There's an article in your packet about the Springfield Central football game. We did lose to St. John's Prep in the championship game. It was a very tough game that we played in the monsoon. Yeah. And I think the weather conditions worked against us because they had a power running team, and it mitigated our speed and athleticism. But I was really proud of our kids because they really hung tough. They played a really tough game under difficult circumstances and showed the kind of sportsmanship that we'd all be proud of. So a great year. 3 Super Bowls in the last 4 years isn't bad. You can't win them all, I guess. But I would have loved to seen that game played in unusual circumstances.
Superintendent Warwick, Pat Roach, and myself did drive down to the game on the sideline at Gillette again, and you're absolutely right. The weather conditions were terrible. Monsoon, the rain was coming and the wind sideways, and it really took away from, as you said, the speed and athleticism of Central. And the other team was a running team. They kept the ball away from. But I also want to commend the cheerleaders. We stood right by the cheerleaders, and they were so faithful. They were getting soaked, and I want to commend the marching band because we were right by. They were in the stands there, and they were, playing on, and they were getting soaked. So the whole Central family, but we're still very proud of them, and they should stand tall as we stand tall with them too. But never seen that type of weather for 4 quarters. It didn't stop.
But again, very proud of the kids, and the sportsmanship was tremendous. There's a second article in your packet about 6 of our players that are invited to the U.S. Army Bowl Combine in Texas. So again, all working towards scholarships. So it's, the home of scholars and champions, and this is far more than about just athletics. But Matthias Barber, Sean Des Buchanan, Jack Casey, Dwayne Early Jr., Kaji Charles, and Noah Carter are all going to play, going down to that combine. Again, having opportunities to get looked at by scouts throughout the entire country to get those scholarship opportunities we were talking about earlier. So really proud of them. In that article, it also mentions our Pop Watson, who was named an All-American, the first All-American out of Springfield and Central since Travis Bass. And he's going to be playing in the Army All-American game. So just great work. And again, all of them getting great scholarships. And Pop just committed to Virginia Tech. So again, going on, moving forward. And he's actually going to start January 14th because he completed his academic program already, so he can start college early, along with Josiah Gonzalez,
Josiah
Griffin, who was going on to BC like his brother. So
and
really
Pop,
good.
And Pop Watson too. He'll become the second coming of Michael Vick at Virginia Tech, but he'll be I've told him he'll be the first coming of Will Pop Watson there, because that's the way he slings that ball and stuff. So great opportunity.
Yeah, Michael Vick has already reached out to him, so that's really kind of cool. He's a player like Michael Vick, so it's really exciting. There's also a letter in your package from Mira Vista Behavioral Health Center about our kids from DeBerry stepping up during the holiday season, sending cards to some of the patients there. It's a great letter, so proud of our kids, again, reaching out and doing the community kind of things. There's a letter from the Commonwealth, from the governor's office, congratulating us on getting the teacher diversification grant, another $122,000 to continue our work with our teacher diversification. Azelle did a great job on the Springfield Educator, and there's a copy in your packet of the Springfield Educator, and it's really tremendous. And lastly, there's a contracts report. If you have any question on the contracts report, you can contact Pat Roach or I. Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my report.
Any questions or comments, Superintendent's report? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to unfinished business. Hearing none, we'll move to new business. Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn? So moved by Ms. Hurst. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Naylor. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor?
Yes.
Attorney Murphy? Mr. Gonzalez, absent. Ms. Gresham, absent. Ms. Hurst?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient vote. This matter passes. Again, on behalf of myself and the school committee, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, a joyous and healthy, successful New Year. Thank you for watching, and good evening.
Happy holidays.
The team from here.